Now I'm going to clutter things up a little bit more, looking just quickly at what happens when we construct the factor 1/2 graph. I'm going to construct it kind of small here because I just want to give you some indications. If we start with a 0.11 here, and I'm not going to label that point, but we understand that that's the 0.11. Factor 1/2 means that when we double the value of x, the y value becomes half as great. So if we double our value of x, that means we're going to go from here out to about here, and y is going to become half as great. Well, half of the y value here is here, so your y value would be about here. Then, of course, we can't do any more doubling without getting into my writing here. So I'm going to go halfway back here and see what happens. Okay, so let's see. What's the y value have to be for this point? Well, this point is halfway to here, which means that the y value here should be half of the y value here, because from here to here we're doubling the x value. So from here to here, if we're doing the factor 1/2 graph, we take half the y value. So that means that the y value here has to be what? Has to be twice as great as it is here, so that half of that y value will be this y value. So that my y value here will be about this. So that now this is about half of this. And this gives us at least this much of a curve that very clearly has kind of a upward concavity to it. Now, this is not the only curve that'll have an upward concavity. This curve had an upward concavity. This one had a downward concavity. So some of your curves had upward concavity, some had downward concavity. That's not the difference between this curve and the others. What is the difference? And then, what's the limiting value of this curve as x approaches 0? Now, I don't have room to continue cutting the x in half here, but if I cut it in half a couple more times, what's going to happen to the y value? What's the curve going to look like? And what's it going to look like if I keep cutting x in half? What's going to happen to the values of y? And what's the limiting value of y going to be as x approaches 0?